Hello and good morning to you, my dear students. I would like to welcome everybody to Introduction to Philosophy of the Human Person. Since we experienced storm, typhoon, warnings from Pag-asa, we decided to switch to asynchronous classes and providing you with recorded video of our lesson. I would like to start this with reciting and reminding everybody of the institution's philosophy. That is, train up a child in a way he should go, and when he is old, he will not depart from it. That's from Proverbs chapter 22, verse 6. Right? Today's objective for our discussion are this, okay, or the following. First one is to distinguish opinion from truth, analyze situations that show the difference between an opinion and the truth, realize that the methods of philosophy lead to wisdom and truth, and of course, lastly, is for us to evaluate opinions and separate it, okay, from the reality or the truth that we are actually seeking, right? So now, our lesson for this morning, okay, that comprises all of those in our objective is actually called or entitled as Methods of Philosophizing. We're done discussing what is philosophy, the history of philosophy, and also the branches of philosophy. This morning, we have to focus on the methods of philosophizing, which means that we are applying, okay, what we've learned previously, okay, and what we're going to learn today, okay, and to making our own philosophy in the future. Okay, so what is philosophizing? Okay, from the term itself with the ing on it gives you a hint that this is an action, okay, or what you call as a process of doing philosophy, but in a manner that it's organized, it is systematic. If you still remember, I mentioned to everybody that philosophy is also science. Okay? In pursuit of that wisdom, that knowledge, that truth, okay, we use active questioning, which is actually what philosophizing is all about. Okay? Now, philosophy, no, or one of the methods of doing philosophy or philosophizing is actually doing speculative thinking or having these speculations. No, when you hear the word speculation, some of the words that you have in mind are your guesses, your hypothesis, your theories, okay, or those assumptions that you have. All those are correct and related to speculation. Now let's put them in order and how they work with each other. Now let's begin with defining what speculation is. As you can see in the presentation, it came from the Latin word specula, okay, meaning to watch over. Meaning it's required to have an observation first so that you can come up with whatever speculations you have. And of course, when we say speculative thinking or speculations, these are statements, okay? These are questions you have in mind, okay? And this one doesn't require fully researching or investigating, just as mere uses of your perceptions, okay, or your senses is enough to create speculation. Okay? Now, these are samples of speculations we have, okay, most commonly, no, for us human person. We have questions like what happens after death? Who's not curious about what will happen to us after dying? Actually, me personally, I have questions. After that, will I still remember everyone I used to know when I'm still alive? Those things, those are speculations. Okay? Second sample here, is there a perfect world beyond this one? Because this world basically is not a perfect one. No, we experience fairness in treatment and of course biases as well. Okay? Now, can time exist even without change? How is that possible? Okay, those questions. No, these are rhetoric questions I'm throwing to everybody that I also have in my mind. Okay, does the universe have a beginning or end? Okay, the beginning could possibly be answerable, okay, by science or how we approach it, no, in physics. But if you're asking if the universe has an end, does it really have? Will it have an end? Okay, or it's people, okay, who actually ends, okay, because we die. Okay, Those questions are samples of speculations. Yeah. Here, I just want to throw some questions to you that you might want to answer on your own or in your notes. What if people could live forever? What will you do? What will you actually want to do if you have the chance to live forever? Okay? And next, I have this question. What if we could change the past? If given the power, maybe the magic, okay, to change the past, what will you do? Or what are the things that you will be changing? Okay? And of course, yeah, when we're talking about speculations, yeah, and of course, speculative thinking, we might think of what is your what if or your greatest what if. I know you've heard this a lot of time, okay? But it's one way of philosophizing because we are asking greater question. Hey, what is your biggest what if or what is your what if? Okay, next. Part of speculative thinking or speculation is a theory. Okay, this one mentions here that it's a supposition of system, ideas intended to explain something. Always remember this, just to uh, compare and contrast speculations to theory. Speculation is just mere observation, watch over, opinion. Okay? That's speculation. And when we say theory, this one, okay, broader or provides broader explanation of something. That's why we use a term theory. Okay? So if you still remember when you're doing your qualitative research, hey, you are required to have a theory behind it because in qualitative, we want to explain things broader and deeper. Okay, so that's the difference. Theory is not yet proven. It doesn't reach 100%. That's why it's called theory. Okay? And there are different theories, okay, or different approaches in a lot of things that we are doing, even in our behaviors. But none of them are 100%. Okay? Because again, they are theory, but they are meant to explain something in a broader manner. Okay? I hope that's clear for everybody. Okay? So in creating theory, we can ask questions like, can something be real even if we can touch or see it? Like love, justice, or an idea. There are things, or we can categorize things into abstract and concrete things. Concrete things are like your laptop, your cell phones, things that we can touch, like pen, your highlighters, okay? Pen, highlighters, books, notebooks. These are all sample of concrete things and that are easy to define for us. But what about, okay, the reality of love, justice, idea? These are abstract things. Okay? Are they real even if we don't touch them? Religious questions like, is God really existing? I haven't spoken to him yet. I haven't seen him face to face yet. Okay, so how can we know, okay, if something is real, or can something be considered real even though you're not able to touch them? Okay, that's a great question for everybody. Also, I would like to tell this to everybody or ask this to everybody. If a theory helps us understand the world, even though it doesn't reach the 100% truth or universally accepted, will it still matter? Okay? That's one thing that you have to, rationalize or think through, right? Now, let's proceed with the process of creating theory. Okay, in research, we do grounded theory as an approach or design if we wanted to create another theory out of our study. And that is called theorizing. Okay, meaning you form theories about something that you have deeply, okay, observed already. Okay, next, philosophy as speculation, speculative thinking, but this time we will proceed with hypothesis. So we have speculation, we have theory, and now we will proceed with hypothesis. So, like theory, hypothesis wanted to explain something, but this time it's only limited, okay, and wanted to be tested. That's why in quantitative research we use hypothesis because we are limited or bounded to present, okay, our observation through numbers or through data. Okay? So that's what we call hypothesis. Theory to explain something broader. Hypothesis is to test something. Okay? Yeah. And it's a starting point of further investigation as you can see here on the slides. Okay? Here are some samples of hypotheses. If people could read minds, imagine if we have the power to read each other's minds, then group projects would end in seconds because we can read, okay, ideas of our classmates and our group mates, and possibly could end friendships as well. Okay? Yeah. Next, here, if laughter could power cities, then I believe TikTok would solve the energy crisis we're having. Who among you doesn't laugh, okay, when you're watching TikTok videos? Of course you do. Alright? Yeah. Next, let's proceed also with the process of creating hypothesis. It's simply called hypothesizing. Okay? You propose explanation of a phenomena. Okay? You writing research or quantitative research on this that could be tested. That's a process, okay, of hypothesizing. Okay. Now, if we put it in the manner of just a philosophy, just a simple way of living as a human person, this is your what is and your if and then. What is your if and then? Okay? This is the format actually. You start with if and then followed by then. That's how you actually create hypothesis. Okay? Now, we're done with philosophy as explanation. Now, let's proceed with philosophy as analysis. Like I've always mentioned to you, philosophy requires not just creative thinking, okay? Of, creating your what ifs, formulating hypothesis and theory, no? But of course, to have critical thinking in it, okay? And it requires analysis, okay? Here, when we say critical, okay, of course, the first thing that comes into our mind is to criticize, okay? And people, when they hear the word criticize, they often associate it to negativity or negative remarks of people about it, but we have to change it. We're living in the 21st century and we have to accept that criticism, okay, is just equivalent to giving you feedbacks, to judge and to analyze things. But then again, objectively. Okay? So that's what we mean when we criticize. We give the good points and also we see, okay, things that are for improvement, okay, in those thinkings, in those premises or principle. Okay? Also in analysis, yeah, and insights are of course validated as well. Now we will check if they're valid or invalid based on how you present, okay, and based on how you explain, okay, what you share. Now as you subject an idea, insight, here in analysis, we will evaluate them if first one, if they are clearly stated, they are consistent with itself. Because again, inconsistencies would lead to it being invalid. I always remember that. And of course, it's consistent with the world. Okay, I have to always remind people that in philosophy, in creating or sharing your thoughts, your ideas, your philosophies, make sure that it is consistent with the world. Okay, so that it could be acceptable. Okay, by, if not all, by many. Okay, at most. Next, here, what are the aspects, no, under critical thinking as analysis or critical thinking, no, itself? Aristotle, okay, again, one of our big three in terms of philosophy, proposed already this logic. Okay, and we have talked about this as one of the main branches of philosophy. Logic is very important, okay, in analysis. These are, you know, our problems are solved through this careful analysis, careful structure, strategy that we have. Okay? So that's why logic is very important. So let's put it in an example. Okay? Here, we all pretended to understand the lesson and nodded at the same time. Okay? A simple logic. No? If you pretend something, you have to act on it. Okay? So that you can, okay, support, okay, your pretentious act that you actually understand the lesson. So you nodded at the same time in the class. That's just how simply it works. Okay? Logical. Okay? Like this is my action, this is what I think, and this is how I act upon it. Okay? Next, of course, very important in philosophy is linguistic or the use of language. Okay, when we say language, it's not just basic English or basic Filipino, okay? But actually how we word things, okay? Where our meanings of our words are analyzed for clarity, consistency in the world, as mentioned earlier in our criteria. Because in language, sometimes it could be ambiguous, it could be vague, okay? It could be misunderstood, okay? Based no on the 21st century, we have a lot of misunderstanding in the tone because it's so hard to tell what people actually have in mind. Let's say for example, we're just chatting, okay, in phones, no, in chat, in messenger. How will we know how that person actually feel, if we don't see that person in real life, or if we're not talking to them face to face? Okay, so that's why linguistic is very important. Okay, and you have to be very consistent, very, how do you call this, careful, no, in writing, okay, your philosophy and all, and even your insights. Okay, here, everyone in our class pronounces quiz like it's a threat. Okay, pag may teacher na nagsabi, let's have our quiz, everybody, okay, suddenly changes as if quiz is equivalent to the term threat. This is what I'm talking about. Okay, we put different meanings to words we encounter every time. Okay, so these are just the invented meaning, no? The newly coined terms in the society is very, you know, uh, possible, no, these days. That, let's say for example, the term we use as ghost, no, before, ghost is just an imaginary creature we have in our mind, but now when we say ghost, this is leaving a person without actually telling them that you will leave them. Okay, so those things, okay, that's why language is very important. Okay, now we're done with speculation, we're done with analysis. We will proceed with reflective inquiry and the highest form of methods of philosophizing. Why? In reflective inquiry, we are meant, okay, to ask greater questions, not to put pahirap, okay, in ourselves and other people, but challenging, okay, our beliefs, challenging our knowledge, no, and seeing if this knowledge could be synthesized, no, or summed up into, or to form a wisdom out of it. That's why reflective inquiry is really important. Okay, here in reflective thinking, no, this is one kind of thought where the grounds for the belief is just, support, no, what is actually examined already. Okay, that's why it's reflective thinking. It happens and we want to reflect, okay, on what is given, on what is served, okay, on our table. Okay, so that's the purpose of reflective inquiry or reflective thinking. Moreover, this is meaning making, okay, or making sense of what is given there. Okay, we mentioned on our previous lesson, everything happens for a reason. How can I make sense with that? That everything happens for a reason. Psychology wise, am I supposed to be always positive in reacting to whatever happens to me? Am I not allowed to behave differently because of these antecedents? Okay? Or antecedents are situations, no, that made you feel and made you act differently. Okay? So in psychology, they have this model ABC: antecedent, behavior, and consequences. No? So in meaning making, no, this will fall under that. Okay? How do we make sense of what is going on? No, we deliberately look for the truth, the understanding, and also relation of one experience to another. Oh, maybe I failed this because I would pass a greater school. I failed this because I would get a greater score. Okay, so those are reflective inquiry. No, how are we supposed to do with that? No, we have to make meaning for ourselves. No, but we cannot dismiss the negative thinkings. Okay, we cannot always impose positive thinking to people, okay, because we handle things differently. Always remember that. Okay, yeah, although the subject is not personal development, but in philosophy we cannot dismiss, right, other things, in relation to how we reflect to what is going on. Right? Yeah. So I have here a question that I will be sharing in the Google Classroom, and I want you to answer this. Okay? As early as now, think through this. Bakit may mga taong basta na lang nang iiwan kahit sinabi nilang hindi sila aalis? Pretty good question for everybody. So I'll wait for your answers in the Google Classroom. Okay? Next, let's proceed with fact or opinion. Basic, okay? Basic concept for everybody. Let's and simplify it and do not make it complex for everybody. Okay? So a fact, is very basic, no? This one is a provable statement. Okay? It can be shown, it can be tested, it could be labeled as true or false, no, without a doubt, no? Because what do? We have evidence. We look for measurement. We look for observation. We look for research that will support that it is actually a fact. Okay? Let's have three examples here. First one, the school day starts at 7:30 a.m. How could this be a fact? Let's check your schedule. No, if it doesn't start at 7:30 a.m., that's false. Okay? And if it starts at 7:30 a.m., then that's true. Okay? As simple as that. That's how fact works. There are 12 months in a year. How can we prove this? Let's check the calendar. No, do we have to recite from January to December to know that we have 12 months in a year? Yeah, that's how. Okay, we can prove that it's a fact. Jose Rizal was born on June 19, 1861. Can we contest? Okay, historical books can prove, okay, that Jose Rizal was born on that date. Okay, those simple manners. Okay, books references are very important. Evidence. Okay, to know that something is a fact or an information can be labeled as fact. Okay, next. Fact also they said is something that is known to have happened or have exist already. That's why we cannot dismiss experiences, no, as a fact. Sometimes experiences is just so hard to back up, no, most especially if you don't document. But if you document your experience, that experience could turn into a fact. Okay? So long as you have a proof, okay, that it actually exists. Okay? Let's say for example, like this. Classes were suspended last Monday due to heavy rain. There, our city mayor posted, walang pasok, all levels. Actually, a late announcement at 11 a.m. onwards. No, whereas our city mayor mentioned, it's better late than never. Easy as that, proven. Classes were suspended. Actually, it's suspended from Monday to Friday. As simple as that. Okay, just to simplify things for everybody. I also mentioned here that facts are pieces of information that can be discovered. How can we discover things? Let's do examinations. Let's do laboratory exams. Okay? Example, water freezes at 0 degrees Celsius, which is 32 Fahrenheit. That is, science can prove things. Okay? And those things. Okay? That's how fact can be easily proven. Of course, if fact is existing, opinion coexists. Okay? And I believe opinion has a lot more numbers than the actual facts, no? Because we are how many human beings? 8 billion people, no? And every day we utter opinions, okay? And as we define it, opinion, on the other hand, expresses a personal belief, idea, or feeling that is not provable. Okay? Say, for example, I think online classes are better than face to face. Just from the single term or words I think, okay, you know that it's already an opinion. It's a long way, okay, if you want to prove that online classes is better than face to face. If you want to make it a fact, do a research, gather numbers to make sure that it's universally accepted that online classes are really better than face to face. Unless you do that, it will remain as an opinion. Okay? That's your preference. Eh? That's your experience. That's why it's easy for you to say that you like or you think online classes are better. Maybe because you are at the comfort of your homes. Okay? You can do whatever you want behind cameras. Okay? Possibly. Okay? with that. That's why it will remain an opinion. Also, opinion, okay, could be just idea from a person, a group of people, yeah, uncommon people that have the same idea about something or someone, and which are based mainly on their feelings and beliefs. Opinion are quite a threat and tricky at the same time because it would spark rumors, speculations about people or someone, as mentioned here, not just something, but someone. That makes opinion quite dangerous if you're not careful with the linguistic or the language that you will be using. Okay? So we have here another example of opinion based on preference. Okay? Group work is better than individual work. Okay? Two heads better than one. That's your preference. Okay? Yeah. So in school, no, just to share with everybody, we balance group works and individual works. Okay. Now let's proceed with the last part of our discussion this morning. This one very familiar with everybody: objective and subjective information. Okay. Objective, as we know for everybody, these are based from facts, measurable and observable, and is not okay influenced by any feelings, okay, of someone or any experiences. Just focus on what is given. Just focus on the premise, okay, of what is presented. Okay? Yan. Also, objective, no, perspective is one that is not, yeah, influenced by emotions, personal feelings, just no fact that is quantifiable and measurable. So one that is not contestable. Okay? One that someone cannot contest. Okay? Say for example, in Oneida Christian colleges, students are required to wear uniforms from Monday to Friday. Objective, based on the discipline handbook, based on the discipline manual for students. That's it. Okay? That's, an objective one. Okay? It doesn't says here students from STEM, okay, should wear uniforms from Monday to Friday. There's no shown of any bias, but the direct, okay? If it's for everyone, it's for everyone, okay? That's objective. And of course, if there's an objective, we have subjective, okay? This one, analysis based naman, okay, on our personal opinions, interpretations, your point of views, POVs, your emotions, your judgment, your feelings, your preferences, okay, about something. No? And also, subjective perspective is one open to greater interpretation. This one opens with a lot of discussion and talks, okay? Because this one also include aesthetics, how we view things, no? From one people to another. Things might be beautiful for me, things might be easy for me. My ideals could be, weird for some, or your ideals could not be my ideals. Just simply, okay, like that. That's how it works. Okay, subjective. Okay, and I would like to provide here a sample. Okay, I don't know if you will agree to me. Philosophy is the most boring subject to ever exist. Just an example. I don't know to you. Do you find our class boring? Do you find philosophy as the most boring subject? Let me know. Okay, so that I could prepare more fun activities and discussion for everybody. Right? So I believe this will be the end of this lesson, methods of philosophizing. So again, please wait for the copy of this presentation on your Google Classroom, and of course, a module, okay, that will support also methods of philosophizing for your self-paced learning, and of course one activity wherein you have to answer my question earlier. Okay, bakit nga ba sila nang iiwan kahit sabi nila hindi sila aalis? Right? So this is Introduction to Philosophy of the Human Person. Lesson number 3, Methods of Philosophizing. Thank you so much everybody, and stay safe and sound.